You're live.
I'm live?
Yeah.
Oh no, not me. Buster. Buster's the one who's alive. Oh my goodness. This neglected dog. Okay, so what happened? This was a few months ago now. So Johnny had a baby, and then he started abusing his dog. And now the dog has to get affection wherever it can. Oh
Yeah,
no.
It's a sad state.
Look at this baby. This is the face of depression. Oh no. Buster.
We go on walks every day.
Yeah. And the thing is that he's a big dog, so he needs like a little bit more exercise. But he's incapable of going out into the backyard without trying to kill something.
Squirrels.
True, and the other dog.
Well, they try to kill each other. It's a fair trade.
Like, what if you just like introduced yourself to the neighbor and then like went on a play date with the dogs?
Those dogs are the worst.
Which dogs?
Dogs over there.
How are you so certain that that's not your dog?
His usual first instinct is to play, unless he's getting attacked.
Right, but that's why you'd have to like introduce the dogs and
that sounds like a lot of work. We're gonna be moving soon.
Okay. Did you find a place?
Kind of.
Okay.
We're working on it.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to work on this background.
Can they hear me?
Yeah, of course.
Well, sometimes they can't hear me.
They can hear you.
Okay. So, welcome to the early bird special. This one started off real weird.
Oh shit! I put an image in front of your face.
Why, Johnny?
There we go. I got it fixed.
But yeah, Johnny wanted to know if he could start the stream and then do a few things and then go to the bathroom. So I said there's definitely something that I want to talk about, and that is, and this is kind of an old idea now. It's a few weeks old since people have been talking about it. But basically, when Sekio came out, people found it so difficult that they got mad at the game, and then got mad at the developer for making the game so difficult. And we're like, why isn't there an easy mode in the game? I mean, I paid money for it. Shouldn't I get to see the whole game without having to get good at the game? Which I guess kind of makes sense, but I think I have finally come to my final opinion on it, and that is that no, like, you don't, if you suspect that a game is going to be really difficult, just don't buy it. Don't get that game. It's obviously not for you, you know? Getting a text message, which usually means something. No, it's something else. Okay. Yeah, so, like, for example, I don't play Fortnite. Actually, I play relatively few, basically online multiplayer first-person shooters. And the reason for that is because I know what that clientele is like. Like, it's especially with games like Fortnite and basically any multiplayer first-person shooter that has a big following. What you have are individuals there who have a tremendous amount of time to dedicate to the game. And this is also true of stuff like World of Warcraft, although I don't know if anybody's playing World of Warcraft anymore, to be honest. But whenever you have these big online communities, your top players and anybody who's even close to competing on that level are individuals who, like, that's what they do with their spare time. It's a huge amount of what they do with their spare time. And I generally don't have the spare time to commit to that much, to learning that much about a game, to becoming that skilled at a game, in order to actually compete on that level. Because it's usually a lot of kids. It's usually a lot of kids that, you know, the kids have more free time. They have a huge amount of free time and disposable income for pay-to-win games, you know. They just, they spend their allowance on it because most other things are taken care of. So I don't feel like going in there casually and then just losing over and over and over and over again. So I don't participate, you know? Right now I'm addicted to Breath of the Wild, and Breath of the Wild is a game that is actually pretty difficult to see everything. Now, you can run straight to the final boss. You can. You're probably gonna get wrecked unless you're a speedrunner or something like that. But you can see the beginning, the middle, and the end of the full story. Not a problem in that game. But that game is so expansive that there's so much to see that most people just don't invest the time. I'm a crazy person, and I'm trying to invest the time right now because I only just recently learned that you can finally get Link's costume in the game without an amiibo, and that's important to me. You can get his costume in the game. You can get Link's proper costume in the game if you find all the shrines. And so I'm trying to. And to be honest, I don't know if I'll be able to do it without a walkthrough. And for me, using a walkthrough would be defeat, I think. And so it's a question of right now, do I have the ability to see all of the things that I want to see in the game, or am I going to have to admit defeat and just pick up a walkthrough? And that's okay. When I set out to do it, I knew what I was getting into. The idea that a video game that's very different from a movie should show you absolutely everything without necessarily earning it. Is anybody owed that? No. A game developer can make a game any way that they want, and if you think it's going to be too much of a challenge and you're not going to get out of it what you want, don't play it. You know, there's stuff like in Star Wars Battlefront. Star Wars Battlefront, there is stuff that I definitely wanted to do. I thought it would be cool to like run around as Darth Vader, murk dudes with the TIE fighter and stuff like that. But I never got good enough at the game or invested enough time in it to get the to get the RNG to become Darth Vader, get in the TIE fighter. I got in the TIE fighter a couple of times, but I got killed immediately, because it's like 2 hits and you're done. And so to actually practice that particular skill in the game, it's a huge time investment. And what I did, despite the fact that I wanted to participate in those things, because it obviously wasn't for me, I didn't. And I also didn't complain about it. At no point did I get mad at the game for being too difficult. And I honestly, if you just want to see everything in a game, I am certain. You know what? I'll go out on a limb and I'll search for it right now. I'm gonna look for Sekio. Sekio full run through or full playthrough. Sekio full playthrough. And I'm gonna go on a limb here and say no commentary. Like, it is exactly the experience of the game. Somebody boots up the game, plays the whole Sekiro. I was saying it wrong. Sekiro.
That's a game.
Yeah.
It's the latest in the really hard games.
Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, gameplay, walkthrough, part 1. Let's see, and no commentary. So, if you want to see all of Sekiro without getting good enough to see all of Sekiro, guess what? You can have that for free. You don't even have to buy the game.
Thank you, YouTube.
Yeah. So if all you're concerned with is seeing all parts of the game, you don't even have to play.
Just watch it.
Yeah. But if you want to experience the game and have some sort of very hollow sense of accomplishment, because I think the other thing we have to recognize is that games are, by definition, frivolous.
The only excuse to live.
You know, games are frivolous.
Ah!
What?
Sorry, I'm here.
But
I'm good.
you know, not being good enough at a game is no reason for outrage.
It's a personal choice.
Right, but you can choose not to play.
Yep.
Yeah, and ultimately they're not important. Video games aren't important.
Depends on your view.
Yeah,
on your worldview.
I'm guessing that you disagree.
No, I'm saying it's a personal choice. You put value on things in your life as you see fit.
Okay.
If you want to put value on and pride and put time and money into keeping your house clean, that's important to you.
Uh-huh.
If you only play video games and that's the only thing you care about, then that is like the only thing that matters.
I think there are some universal things that are important, like water.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah, but water's not a very good video game.
It's not.
They've tried it.
Called Echo the Dolphin.
Yeah, actually, that's an excellent video game. It's weird. That's a game that's actually I find pretty difficult, and I never invested the time to get particularly good at. And so I actually followed my own advice before I formed this opinion right here on the camera, because I kind of started talking about this to figure out how I felt about it. Mm-hmm. And with Echo the Dolphin, I actually watched a playthrough.
Really?
Yeah. That game gets interesting.
Does it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's interesting from the beginning.
Yeah, because you're a dolphin.
You're not only a dolphin, but you're a time-traveling dolphin.
What? I didn't know that.
And at one point, you actually swim to the North Pole. And that's when a new element to the game is added, and it's actually tobogganing.
No way.
Yeah, throughout the game there are like little reef and island obstacles for you. You have to build up enough speed and accurately jump over them. Right. So at the North Pole there are ice sheets,
and you slide across them.
Yeah, you have to build up enough speed to slide. Actually, no, the game keeps a forward momentum as long as you're on it, but you might start off really, really slow if you don't do it well. So yeah, you gotta slide around your stomach. You know something interesting I learned about dolphins?
They're mammals.
I knew that.
Oh.
They basically don't sleep.
At all?
Yeah. Like it's.
Do they rest sides of their brain?
Sort of like they have like a trance-like state that they kind of get into, but they can be in this state while swimming. Mm-hmm. Because they can only hold their breaths for 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which like is that's like the lowest amount of time for any aquatic mammal.
Okay.
Which I found it interesting because I think of them as the most highly evolved. But that also makes sense because they have to oxidize their brains.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to start the show?
I feel like I'm in it. I feel like I already did it. But yeah, we can start the show.
All right, cool.
America, I'm Zach Nanimus.
Johnny Dim.
And you have just tuned into the WarPod, the official podcast of the Warlocks Entertainment System, your one-stop shop for nerd news around the Houston area and the world. Johnny Dim.
That's me.
Johnny, you have got Spider-Man on the brain.
I do.
Because you got to see it early.
Yeah.
I did not get to see it early.
This close.
I thought showing up for a movie 2 hours early was enough.
It's not.
I was informed once I got there, once Johnny tried to sneak me in.
I did not try to sneak you in. They changed the rules. They used to be different.
Okay. She made it clear that you knew what the policy was.
We didn't speak. She's like, I told you. I was like, we haven't talked about anything. Okay. I have not spoken words to you, ma'am.
Either way, it was one of those things where like they invite you to wait in line.
Oh yeah.
Like it's not like, oh, we know how many people, because first off, all right. So basically when you get into a movie early, there are 3 ways to do it. Either you're a really successful podcast or news outlet,
In your press.
and you become a VIP, and they reserve seats for you.
Right.
The second one is they set up an event where it's like, oh, you're in the contest, you were chosen as a contest winner. We have enough seats for everybody. Just come sometime before the movie starts. Those are the ones that usually have a moratorium on talking about it.
Right, but those also, like this one, you can also win tickets to go see that. Like the one I went to, they reserve rows.
Right.
Yeah, for the VIPs who win tickets.
Right. And then the third way is we're gonna say you won a contest.
It's not a contest.
Or we're gonna say you won a sweepstakes or something.
It's not. They don't say you win anything. There's different outlets online of these different organizations. They all have basically Sony Pictures or whoever the outlet is designates a certain chunk of these free passes for an early screening, and they give a certain number designated to these different outlets, and then those outlets say, all right, I got free passes, who wants them? And then they go to the Sony website through their code or whatever, and then there's a certain number from that outlet that are allowed to grab the passes, but they plainly state on the tickets that they overbook.
Right.
And there's nothing stopping you from taking that pass you got and copying it and giving it to your friends.
Right.
So
and here's the thing, for something like Spider-Man Far From Home, there's
in the summer too, because a lot of people didn't have jobs or whatever, they were on vacation or whatever.
There's no reason to overbook.
Right.
There's absolutely no reason.
They have no incentive.
They will show up.
Right. And this was one of the longest lines I've ever seen, because after you left, we still had to wait outside. They brought in the first, 30, 40 and put them inside to wait in line. And then, so they're waiting in line where we're outside, and there's a certain number they're getting in. We already know that number. The thing is,
why are we frozen?
It's frozen on here, but it's still streaming.
Okay.
So anyway, so we're still waiting in line. We know how many people are going to get in, except we don't know how many VIPs are going to show up. So what they do is they wait, they let everybody else in, and then there's like another maybe 6 people that'll get in. They're still in line.
Right.
That part of the line, the people that weren't guaranteed to get in, it got just as long as it was when you were there. Like it
doubled in size.
It doubled in size.
Okay.
And I was like, all these people are going to be very disappointed.
That was like if that doubled in size, it was like 40 people tops.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's not.
It still was a lot, and you didn't. That was after a bunch of people had already gone inside. So.
I mean, it's to the point where the only reason I wanted to watch Spider-Man Far From Home was to talk about it today. It's the only reason. Yeah, it's the only reason.
Really? That's too bad, because it's a very good movie.
Man, I can feel it in my bones how bad that movie is. I can feel it.
Yep.
I have no faith in the studio getting Mysterio even remotely correct.
All right.
And the Tom Holland Iron Spider-Man man. It's like a joke.
How is that a joke?
Well, first off, they only produce action comedies.
That's true.
You know, that's one thing. And also Nick Fury's in this movie. And if there's one thing I hate, it's Spider-Man Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. I hate Spider-Man Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, if anybody's clicking off because you don't want spoilers, we're going to do that way later. It's going to be our final segment.
What I suggest we do is we go through the rest of our topics right now, and we'll save all the Spider-Man talk toward the end, and we'll do the non-spoiler stuff first, and then do the spoiler stuff after. So we can talk about other stuff. All right,
so let's switch gears for us, John B. Dim.
Alrighty then. We're going to talk about something that only I care about.
Alright.
You ready? The Office is leaving Netflix.
I mean, don't they say this like every so often, and then there's a huge surge?
No, this is like Disney creating their own streaming service. We're taking Marvel's shows off of Netflix and Star Wars. This is that. So NBC, I think, is NBC does The Office. They own the rights to The Office. They're creating their own streaming service. So they're taking The Office back.
Why?
I don't know.
It would be the only draw. It would be the only draw.
Yeah.
Except for Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Which Parks and Rec is also on Hulu.
Right.
Which they're probably going to keep that licensing. And I've also seen it 3 times.
The
all the way through.
The Office is also on. Well, I'm a member of a few different Office fan groups on Facebook.
That's fascinating. We're going to talk about that in a second.
But The Office, they're the Office super fans that literally watch nothing but The Office. Like that's the only thing they watch. We've all in this group, like all of us have watched it several times over, and a lot of people. But the reaction to the news was like, "Well, I'll just buy the box set, so game over, whatever." Or you can actually get it on Amazon now too. So
the question here is, how large is the box set nowadays? Or sorry, how expensive is the box set nowadays, and how many months worth of NBC streaming service?
I'm curious.
Where's the break even there?
No, that's a fair question, but I don't really know the answer. But what I think is interesting is I'm gonna go actually see how much the price goes up on those box sets on like eBay and stuff.
Sure, but there's always
new ones coming out.
Yeah, you can always.
If they're smart, they'll just do it anyway. Like right now, just come out with another box set because people are like, I don't want that NBC, but they're gonna give NBC their money anyway.
Actually, NBC might halt printings.
So you have to go watch the streaming service.
Right, but the thing is that we're talking about a sitcom that isn't it 10 years old now? Wasn't the finale 10 years ago now at this point?
That sounds right.
Yeah. So
what's really
also no.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember because they reference other properties, like other pop culture stuff in the show sometimes. Like the Saw movies, or the Dark Knight, because they like Creed, like 3 different characters dress up as the Joker from the Dark Knight. But that was in like middle of the run. I don't know. It doesn't matter. So
I'm actually wondering like where you're going with that. Like, what does the Dark Knight have to do with the?
No, I'm trying to say. So I was trying to figure out based on those references. When it ended. Yeah. But it went 9 seasons, I think. So
Mambo number 5 is a pretty old song.
That's true,
and they talk about it in the show.
That's true. Yep. It spans like
Gilda
10
Radner.
years.
Gilda Radner died 50 years ago.
Yeah, she did.
Actually, that might be true. Like I was trying to be hyperbolic, but that might be true. She died in the 80s. Yeah, it was like close to 50 years ago.
But anyway, so The Office is leaving Netflix. A lot of people are bummed about it. But a lot of people are realizing that, for my first option, just to pirate it, so whatever. And then the box sets, and then Amazon. What I was trying to say was my first reaction to this news was anger, because I was so pissed off that
You're one of those Sekiro people.
No, listen.
Gets angry at the TV.
I'm not hungry. I'm not angry.
I'm not hungry.
I'm not hungry.
I'm not hungry about this. I'm angry about it. Let's not mince words here.
Very clear about this. No, but I wasn't mad necessarily because The Office was leaving Netflix. I was mad because the reason it was leaving is because there's another goddamn streaming service, and there's too many. There's too many goddamn streaming services, and they're not going to stop.
You know you're part of the problem, right?
Because I buy them?
Yeah.
I subscribe to a few.
Yeah, you've got...
But I have a hard limit.
DC.
DC's cheap.
And what else?
And that's going to turn into Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers?
Warner Brothers. Yeah, Warner Brothers. Yeah. They're going to have their own streaming service. So that I'd rather pay for that than just the DC one. I do pay for Netflix. I do not have a Hulu subscription anymore.
Okay.
So I dropped that one. Because that's when you live on your secondary, your disposable income is limited, then you have to make these decisions. Like you have to make sure, and that's how that's the only way they're gonna weed off. Like they're only gonna fall off the number of streaming services
if people stop buying them.
People just have like the 2 or 3 favorites, and those will be the 2 or 3 favorites that stay.
See, and we've talked about this several times, that I think that each one needs to have a niche.
Sure. I agree with that.
Because Netflix is weirdo long tail stuff, and sometimes it has the latest stuff.
It has some good original content.
Yeah, or really old sitcoms. And Hulu updates more often. You're more likely to see the most recent episode of your favorite show on Hulu, unless you have stuff like the HBO app through Amazon. Because
you can get the HBO app through Hulu as well.
Yeah, so Amazon has a lot of plugins
Yeah.
And it also has pretty good original content.
And most people have Amazon anyway because of Amazon Prime.
Exactly. And then Disney, and this is something I came around on this
we have a little bit of contention about this because I don't.
I came around.
You agreed that it's important
because it has children's programming.
And I'm saying that you're underestimating the rest of their programming because I think they have a lot more than just children's stuff. But that's the why. That is the reason. Well, I don't want to get into it because I'm going to say Star Wars, and you say that's a children's property.
The one with the laser sword and the Muppet.
Yeah. And then I'm going to say all the Marvel stuff, and you're going to say
the one with the spider guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like what we're getting into, if we argued about this further, like my conclusion would be that you just think adult stuff is porn.
No.
That's like the only thing that's adult. If it's rated R, it's porn, or it's adult, and that's the only that defines it as an adult property.
No, I mean, if it's literally not for children, like children wouldn't understand it or appreciate it because it's.
But just because children
sensitive.
Can watch something doesn't mean that they're the target audience.
It means they're a very important one. It means that it was made with that in mind. Look at The Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings is a series of children's novels.
Is not.
It definitely is.
The Hobbit was a children's novel. Lord of the Rings is not.
The one, yeah, it is. the one with the songs where they're sleeping in trees and they're drinking milk and honey from Beorn, and Tom Bombadil is dancing around.
The one about the wars of man and the cutting off fingers and combat and
who? Wait, are you talking about Smeagol biting Frodo's finger off?
Actually, my first reference, I figured there was more dismemberments, but that was the only one I could come up with. No, it's when Sauron's fingers were cut off.
He's a demon.
And there wasn't blood, I guess.
Huh?
There wasn't blood.
I mean, there's not necessarily blood in Sauron.
Yeah,
he's a creature like Gandalf. He's not.
Whether some world. Yeah, I gotcha. But whether something is a children's property or not is something we're going to be arguing through the end of time. So we just move on.
Yeah.
Not bore everybody with this. So The Office is leaving Netflix. There's too many streaming services, and I can't wait for the day when some of them start going out of business.
Stop buying them.
I will only stop. I would stop buying the bad ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not gonna buy. I'm not gonna buy into the Disney one because if there's something that I'm watching from Disney, it means it got through my soft ban.
Your soft ban on Disney?
Yeah, I have a real soft ban on Disney.
It's the most useless ban ever.
The thing is,
they own everything.
Right, and that's not why I hate them. They're actually eroding our copyright laws.
No, I hate them for that too.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a futile fight at this point. Because they just own everything, and there's nothing that's going to stop children and parents from letting their children watch Disney stuff. So they're going to get our money anyway.
Well, I mean, if you wanted to take your kids completely off Disney, they would be perfectly happy on YouTube anyway.
No, I'm not saying that's not true. That's just not going to happen.
My friend's kids, all they watch is YouTube.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. Disney owns too much.
Actually,
it's too important.
I think he makes them watch some Toei animation stuff like One Piece. Speaking of segues, unless there's something else you wanted else.
There was something I was going to say a second ago and I forgot what it was.
Oh, okay. Actually, I have a question, and this is gonna feel.
Oh, I know what I was gonna say.
It's gonna feel like geek shaming.
Oh, well, it's too late. Go ahead.
No, it's it.
I was gonna say I have a kid now, so there's no way that I was gonna stay away from Disney streaming.
Why? Just make him watch YouTube.
Parenting is a partnership, and
with Disney and Touchstone Pictures.
No, there's no way that Frank is going to. I love that I like saying that my girlfriend's name is Frank, because then people start guessing on what that means exactly.
Have they?
No, I'm not. They're probably guessing to themselves.
Okay.
Does Frank have a penis?
You know what? We're gonna start it right now. If you've got a guess for what Frank's name is,
I think I've said it on the show.
Go ahead and tweet us. Yeah, so it's a question of how much
whether they've been actually paying attention.
Yeah, go ahead and tweet us a guess with hashtag FrankGate.
FrankGate.
2019. All right. No, so something I was going to ask about your obsession with The Office. You're wearing the hat right now.
I am.
Admittedly, I got you that.
Yeah,
hat.
you did. You bought it for me. Hold on, pause.
What?
says chat disconnected, so I want to make sure we're good.
Which like that's like the lowest.
It's still streaming because it's still got the most recent. Sorry guys, technical difference. If you can hear me, I want to make sure that everything's on the up and up. Actually, I think part of the problem is I can't hardwire this computer, and I probably should. Yeah, I think it's just the Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay.
It's all acting weird.
What do we? Oh, actually, we just lost internet on this.
Just this computer.
Yeah, completely. I got the dinosaur game going.
Yay!
I got a dinosaur going. Hold on. I want to get my high score.
I reconnected the internet.
All right, let's see where we are. Yeah, you did.
Okay.
yeah, that's.
Very cool. Alan said Parks and Rec is better than The Office.
Very cool. Alan is correct.
He's wrong.
No, he's
way wrong.
The characters are more fun. Like even the heels you like. And there's more adventure because their job isn't literally being stuck in an office. They work for the Parks and Rec department, so they go out. They have projects and events.
I'm more interested in the psychology of being stuck in an office and a job that you hate, and the insanity that ensues because you're trying to just live.
You realize
it's really about a story about survival.
On negativity. The first thing you said
that's
was
that's why I'm attracted to it.
The first thing you talked about was how little fun it was.
Yeah, but people go insane there. Like everybody that works there is insane.
All right. No. Okay. So something I want to talk about because, and I don't want this to feel like geek shaming because I'm fascinated by it, and whatever you like, it's how you want to spend your life. It's fine. It's not a judgment thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But recently, I started watching. Every once in a while, I'm starting to lose precise memories of like how certain things worked.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna rewatch them.
Okay.
To basically as a refresher because there's stuff that I like to know. And one of those things is details about the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Okay.
Okay. So the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah.
It now has a cult following.
Oh no.
I mean, it has for a long time.
Weird.
It was referred to as a community. Okay. Of just one movie.
Okay.
So my question is, when you have something like super finite, like
such a limited run as in one movie,
or just one show, for example.
Sure.
How do you continue to engage?
Fan fiction.
It really?
No, I don't know.
Well, I guess one recent thing is every once in a while there be a new article where it's like Jim and Pam were actually horrible people, and in a toxic relationship.
Yes. Yeah.
And Jim's I'm losing this word. Antagonistic nature towards Dwight was really him just abusing
a mentally challenged person. Yeah. That was my favorite meme that came out, and you're right. So with The Office, there's so many seasons that you often forget some stuff that happened. So when you rewatch them, sometimes you rediscover. I've watched the thing so many times that's happened to me. In fact, it was funny. I didn't realize this until much later. I didn't watch all of the first season for years, and finally I went back and because they kept talking about this. I'd seen stuff online about the beach episode, and I was like, "What is the beach episode? I've never seen that." And so I finally watched it, and I was like, "Oh, right. I skipped these episodes because they were starting to get bad." So I just restarted at the second season, which is really the best way to watch The Office.
The beach episode?
There's a beach episode. It's an episode where
they're all on the beach.
Yeah, it's a field trip. So Michael thinks he's getting the job in corporate. And he's so convinced that he's going to get it that he wants to do a Survivor style challenge for the rest of the office to see who gets to replace him.
And Pam walks on the coals.
She does, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I do remember that now. Yeah. I was kind of reminded of my favorite Office moment, which is just when Andy decides to to sail the ship to Jamaica.
Yep.
And he's streaming with them, and he's showing them all the amazing pieces of technology.
This is how I get my purify my water, and he drops the device into the water.
Like literally everything he touches, he drops into the water.
And then the laptop falls in the water. and what's her name?
I don't know why that cracks me up so much.
It's funny. My favorite part of that. My favorite part of that is as it's ending, he's falling into the water. She's sitting in there. Oh, what's her name? The receptionist. Erin. She's sitting there and she's going, Andy, I can't hear you. After he's already dropped the laptop into the water.
Oh my god. I don't know. All right. So, as long as we're talking about Netflix, I want to talk about Big Brother.
Big Brother.
Not the reality television show. I want to talk about how our data is being mined and being used to manipulate us into doing things. Because YouTube, I watch a fair amount of YouTube through my television, but I never sign it on purpose.
You don't want them to suggest other stuff you might like?
No, I don't, because they don't. What they do is they suggest their top streamers who are their most advertisement friendly.
They may do that for Let's Players, but that's not what happens to me.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll just do like a wild ass search for, like, I get curious with, like, I'm watching sports or something, and they talk about some type of record that was set, and I'll Google stuff about it, and I'll like, oh look, there's some highlights from old school baseball. And then I'll watch some of that, and then they'll just start sending me other oddball little stuff that I get stuck watching.
But the thing is, mine makes suggestions based upon searches and stuff like that. So it like has an idea of who watches this on my television, because it's through an app on the television. But it's sharing information with Netflix, and so Neon Genesis Evangelion is like being pushed on YouTube, like as I watch it on Netflix.
Right. I find that actually interesting. Like we were talking about this earlier. I have not seen a single time. It hasn't happened to me once that Evangelion has actually popped up in front of my eyes.
Right.
Not once.
It's relatively new on Netflix. I don't know if anybody was trying to get into it, but I watched 5 episodes of it. You can skip it.
I'm gonna watch it anyway.
Don't watch it.
I'm gonna watch it.
Why?
I've been wanting to watch that for like 10 years.
You're gonna hate it. You're gonna hate.
Well, let's do it then. Let's see if I hate it.
Okay.
I'll give you an honest review.
Well,
I'll watch 5 episodes.
Okay, let me ask you this: do you have any preconceived notions about the show? Because I had some coming in, and none of them came to fruition. None of them were satisfied for me.
So my history with that property is that there used to be this thing on that was really popular on the internet, especially with nerds. That was I think it was called Anime X or Anime Zero, and it was just a collaboration of different music and anime that was just some goofy chopped up thing.
They would make they'd make music videos essentially.
Yeah, but this was just the one that was just a comedy one. That was just like little clips, and it was just making little inside jokes for anime and other stuff, other references. I gotta find it again. But there was like 3 of them. They had a sequel, and anyway, so Evangelion would make an appearance on that. Evangelion. I've heard it both ways. I've been saying Evangelion for a while. But
they say Gellion in the show.
Okay, so that's what it is. Okay, I've never known because I never watched it. So anyway, my point is that through that little clip show or whatever, and then some other references online, my understanding of it was that the ending was a mind fuck. That was the what I had come across, is that it was just a weird ending that's supposed to mess with your head, and it's weird.
Okay. And
so I was like, that sounds interesting. I want to watch that, and I just haven't done it yet.
I guess that might happen. All I know is that the show that leads up to a like a big existential, meaningful ending of any kind.
You can see through me.
Huh?
You can see through me.
Oh, that's green enough? That's like just straight up yellow. Mm-hmm. So what precedes all of that really interesting sounding content is a pretty by the numbers mecha anime that like you kind of get what they're getting at. I thought that this was gonna have this was like the Evangelions were gonna be like literally like mechanized angels like from heaven.
Yeah, but they're not,
and they're fighting and they're fighting other angels because they're here to basically, basically salt the earth, and start over. And like getting to that conclusion was gonna be a bit of a journey where we're constantly asking ourselves where the Evangelions come from, where the angels come from, etc., etc. Turns out they have something to do with being in the core of the earth or something like that. And like even if they do turn out to be that, it's not worth the time investment, because what the show is like there's a new kind, and they do conflict pretty well. There's a new kind of angel, and it is messing us up. The military wants to shoot at it, which never works. And there's also pushback against Nerve, which is the corporation that created the Evangelions. And like it's pretty obvious that the Evangelions are just angels that they've mechanized, that they've put stuff on them, but they're not. They don't actually even hint at it really. There's like one freak out at the beginning, and then like they never talk about it again. And after that, so they think through the problem. The Evangelions eventually beat the angel using some kind of plan, and sprinkled throughout is just a lot of fan service that is provided to the audience through characters that are explicitly 15 years old.
Yeah, but
so,
but how
it's either drawn out or uncomfortable, one or the other.
Yeah, what's the PSP? The panty shots per minute?
It's low.
Okay.
But they're still 15.
The characters are 15?
Yes.
Oh.
They're still weird.
I thought you meant the target audience of people watching. Anime is weird.
Anime is weird.
Yeah. That's the takeaway.
Well, it's rooted in Japanese culture, and Japanese culture views sex in a very different way from us. Very different way.
Okay, well, I guess that's the conclusion.
I would say if there's something on the horizon that's going to be relatively interesting,
watch that instead.
No, don't watch the show at all, because it's not worth the whole thing. Going through this whole cutesy, weirdo, a little perverse anime.
Yeah,
and this is me saying it's perverse. If you follow the show. If you follow our show, you know that I'm pretty liberal when it comes to sex and media. I just don't like it when they're 15 years old.
Right. So here, that's actually I'm gonna throw a segue in here, because you were talking about how if you're watching a show and you see something that's down the horizon, quite very far away in the show, and you have to go through a bunch of BS to get there.
Exactly.
That's kind of how I feel about all the Marvel TV shows on Netflix. They're way too long, all of them. And Jessica Jones season 3 is not an exception.
That doesn't surprise me for Jessica Jones. I can say that Punisher season 2 and Daredevil season 3, which are both pretty long, they're a joy to watch every time.
Good.
Yeah, like every episode's good.
Good. Actually, those are the only two I haven't seen. That and any of Luke Cage. I think I saw the first episode of Luke Cage.
I tried real hard to finish off Iron Fist.
Oh, that's right. I haven't seen that second season either.
2 episodes into Iron Fist, I'm already done.
Wait, the first season or the second?
The second.
Okay.
I watched all the first.
Some people told me it was good, but then those people seem to go away really quick. Like, I think they changed their minds.
The thing is that they literally started coming up with articles like explaining why season 1 was so bad. Yeah. Like they're just like, hey, and what it was is it's promotional stuff.
Right.
So like Polygon will come out with like, here's why season 1 was so bad. Marvel gives us a little bit of money. We say it's bad so that we can talk about why it's good.
Are you going on record as saying Polygon receives money from Marvel?
I'm saying most sites do.
That's not how that works.
Oh yeah.
It does not.
How do you know? I mean, it's illegal. So They wouldn't tell anybody.
Because I remember that when this happened in games media, it ended up being a bunch of bullshit. Mm-hmm. It wasn't really a thing that was happening.
Right. I mean, that's the official story.
Oh my god.
The thing is that I see so many things like, why you should love Fortnite, and it's like, no. Well, no, you shouldn't.
that very well could just be a news organization,
a sales tactic,
a news organization capitalizing on something that's actually really popular and coming up with some bullshit articles just so they can get clicks.
Right.
They're getting money through advertisers, not getting it through the Fortnite company.
Yeah, but Disney owns everything, so
Disney does not own Fortnite.
That works hand in hand.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And there's also a reciprocity to the kinds of things that you're invited to do when you say good things about properties.
I'm not saying that stuff doesn't happen. I just don't think it happens nearly as much as you think it does. It does not.
If it's not happening, it's the goal. It's what any of those sites are working towards.
Okay.
Because there's just so much media is kind of bad right now, and nobody wants to talk about it.
Because everybody wants clicks. They're not getting paid by the companies that they're talking about in the articles.
No, what I'm saying is like movies, television, video games, they're kind of bad, and nobody will talk about it. They're kind of all bad, a little bit.
I don't have time to get into this.
And like everybody's like, oh my god, Spider-Man Far From Home. It's the greatest thing since fried eggs.
I saw the fucking movie. It was really good.
Yeah, no way. What are we ready to talk about Spider-Man? Because I'm certain if you describe this movie to me right now.
Okay. Well, I was going to talk about Jessica Jones. We don't have to though, because that's
okay. We'll get back to Spider-Man Far From Home.
Okay.
The thing is that you liked Infinity War, so
which was a good movie.
Pump your brakes on
this Spider-Man movie is a lot better than Infinity War.
It better be.
It is.
Infinity War was bad.
It was not bad.
What's the deal with the Soul Stone?
What do you mean, what's the deal with the Soul Stone?
Why do you have to sacrifice people to get the Soul Stone?
Who cares?
Anybody following the plot?
It's a kids movie, Zach. It doesn't have to make sense.
Why should we make bad kids movies? Why would that? The kids movies are the most important to make right.
That's untrue.
That's absolutely true.
Well, it depends what you mean by right. We shouldn't be. I mean, we shouldn't be telling them that Nazis are good. That would make a bad movie.
Where did that come from? I was just talking about making a sensical plot.
That's what you said. No, you said a very broad term. You said they should be making children's TV shows right, or movies right, and that can have a lot of different meanings.
Are you talking about fascism?
I'm saying that is an open-ended statement.
Okay.
Making them right can be interpreted in a lot of different ways.
Okay, put effort into them to the point where...
Right, but you're talking about stuff that's not necessary. You're talking about an entertaining, goofy little thing, the children's movie that kids don't care if a lot of stuff is like every step of the way is absolutely logical.
You're right, but the thing is that when kids' movies are good, those movies impact them and stay with them, and they begin to appreciate them in different ways later in their life. Okay. That's why it's important to make them right. That's why it's important to make them with quality. It's why it's important.
Quit saying that make them right. You gotta be more specific than that.
Make them with quality. Make them sensical, and don't half-ass it just because it's a kids movie. I never said kids movies were bad.
That statement you just said, all that stuff you just said, can be interpreted in such a way that we should not have magic in anything.
No,
because magic is just a way to explain stuff that don't make sense.
The thing is that you can use magic to represent.
As long as that magic has a hard and fast rule set that we have to know and explain to everybody.
No, what you have to do is
what else would it be?
You have to you can use it to represent the unknown, or to represent power within yourself.
Yeah, but it can also be used as a tool, a plot device, just to make things move along in a story. It doesn't have to be used that way.
That sounds lazy.
It is lazy. But what I'm saying is that shouldn't be banished from kids' movies.
Yeah, laziness should be banished from kids' movies.
Oh boy. Alright. You want to talk about Jessica Jones or not?
Yeah, let's talk about Jessica Jones.
Okay, I'm not quite done with the whole series. I think I'm on episode 6 or 7. I'm actually liking Jessica Jones has been one of my favorites of the Defenders. I think that, especially her first season, of course, it was very good.
Yeah.
The second season
I
was
heard nothing but bad after that, and so I just didn't even try.
The second season isn't as bad. It's just that we don't have David Tennant playing the villain, so it's not as engaging. It's not as
There's not as good a second plot.
Yeah.
Their relationship was very important. And and they were basically co-stars in the show.
Yeah. I was not liking, like, halfway through that the second season. I wasn't liking all of it, but I'm glad I stuck with it and finished it because I thought the conclusion was good. I thought that Jessica's past is what they play with a lot in the second season, and her mother comes back, right? And what we find out is that she also has powers, but she's also insane. And so you have this very complicated and hard relationship that they're trying to build between the two of them. And I thought that they played it really well. It's just not the kind of story. It's just not similar enough to the first season. I think people were just turned off by it.
Okay.
But I liked it. I thought it was fine. And the conclusion was really good. I'm not going to spoil it.
I mean, I guess it would have to be better than the conclusion to season 1, where she finally learns to fly.
What? She didn't fly.
That was the whole thing. Is like, I think in the comics she can fly. I'm not sure.
No, she just jumped really high, I thought.
Yeah, well, the thing is like they were always like, oh, you know, like Jessica, you can fly, and
who said that?
Her roommate. There's flashbacks to a roommate, to a sister.
It's her sister.
All right, and so at the end, all the cops are shooting at her, and there's no way out, and so she finally has to fly. And so she does a matrix jump over their heads, and all the cops forget how to shoot up.
I don't think it's responsible for police officers to be shooting into the sky at something that is moving very fast, because then those bullets are going to come down and hit somebody. It's not responsible.
They were in a building?
Oh, I don't remember this scene.
Yeah.
I don't remember it. Anyway, so we're talking about season 3. So season 3, it gets off on a weird note because my first thought.
I also want to mention if a bullet is shot straight up and actually anything greater than a 45-degree angle, when the bullet comes down, it's going to be the terminal velocity of that bullet. And while it would be painful to be hit by it, it's very unlikely to be fatal.
Sure.
It'd have to fall through your eye.
Don't look up.
Yeah.
So one of my first thoughts in the first episode of season 3 was I felt like Jessica Jones had lost her charm. I couldn't put my finger on exactly why, but there's something about the character, the way she was playing the character. It gets old after a while.
She's a flat arc character,
right? Because she's always a bitch, right? And that gets annoying after a while because you're just like, Jessica, just stop being stupid. Like just be an agreeable person.
Well, she doesn't have to change her personality, but the thing is with the flat arc.
Yeah.
So we have, and I learned this recently, and if you've seen this YouTube video, you're gonna realize, like, I'm just talking about the example in that video. But Goku, Goku from Dragon Ball Z is a flat arc character. He never changes, he never learns, he never grows.
Right.
And the fun of Goku is introducing characters to play off of him.
Right.
And so I guess that's why season 3 is falling flat, because you need someone like Purple Man.
Right.
You know, you need an interesting character to play off her flat arc.
Yeah. She is. I would say that she doesn't have a completely flat arc because she does learn to embrace kind of the hero thing, but she's a very reluctant hero. But she it's not a bad season so far. We play stuff more with Trish. Her sister, she was adopted, or Jessica was adopted into her family. A lot more happens with their relationship, and you get into stuff more with Hogarth is still there, and she plays a major role in season 3 as well.
Okay.
And Malcolm is a character that has really plays a big part of it too, and you see his struggle with, because he ends up being hired by Hogarth as an investigator, and he's got to do a lot of shady stuff. Malcolm
was the addict, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, but now he's cleaned up, but now he's wrestling with other stuff.
How you say
thing. I think the word I was looking for was morality. Like he has to really struggle with a lot of morality issues.
Which actually, the thing about The thing about the Netflix shows is some of the weaker stuff is the ensemble stuff, where like you're way off the beaten path with characters like Malcolm, and you're way off the beaten path in Daredevil with characters like Katie.
I don't know.
The
one who's working
the blonde lady. Yeah, she first
she's like the assistant or whatever.
Yeah, and then she becomes a journalist.
Oh, right.
Which actually she was pretty likable. But you just get way out there into these stories to the point where it's like you just have a different show and have fewer episodes of this show.
You're right. Fewer episodes would be nice because you get the point in season 3 where like the arc of the whole thing is like you build up in the first few episodes of this arc, and then that one's kind of they hit the climax, and then it's resolved, and you have another one, and so it's just there's more. There's not just one straight through.
It reminds me of the Star Wars like machete cuts where you talk about like so you're supposed to watch episode 4 and 5, and then when you get the Vader reveal, spoilers. When you get the Vader reveal, then you go back and you watch 2 and 3,
right? And
so you get the Anakin arc, him turning into Vader, and then you watch the rest of it. And the thing is that that makes sense for that story, as far as like going off the beaten path. The thing is that Darth Vader is like integral to the plot of Star Wars, and characters like Malcolm and stuff like that have relatively little to do with what the series is going to end with, which is going to be a lot of punching. They're not going to punch anybody.
Yeah, I know, but
because a lot of like all of these Netflix things end with punching,
right? But
over and over and over.
What I like about it though is that they don't ever stray too far from the main through line. Like all the different storylines crisscross, and everything makes sense, and it's making sense to me now. And what's really interesting to me is that
how are there so many major plots in these 3 blocks of Queens? It's Queens, right? Hell's Kitchen.
Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
I don't think it's Queens. I don't know that for sure.
No, I think it's in Manhattan.
Yeah. I don't think Jessica Jones is in Hell's Kitchen.
It's not?
No, I don't think so. So what's interesting though is that what we end up finding out is that Jessica is now she's trying to do things right and by the book. She actually even has a cop friend now, like a detective. And
private investigators, that's a licensed job. You
have
rules.
Right. But I'm saying she's working with one now. Like this guy's like, I'll allow you to help to a degree. Like you don't take things into your own hands, and she's actually trying to work with the legal system. Jessica Jones is, and when actually just taking out bad guys and stuff. And so so they're going after a serial killer.
I'm thinking of all the charming things to do with this idea.
Yeah.
And okay, tell me if any of them happened.
Okay.
Okay. So at any point where did she like come in and like lay some stuff down on his desk, and she was like, "I need your help."
To the officer?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Once they decided to work together, was there ever like a montage of her like doing the wrong thing, and she was like holding a guy off the building? He's like, "Jessica, no." Like her like punching a car to stop it is like, also no. And her like flicking a guy across the street, definitely no. Like, did they do anything?
No, all that sounds really fun. They did not do that.
Okay.
No. The show's too serious for that, but that sounded like a lot of fun. No, so they're trying to get the serial killer, and she's trying to get him arrested. She's trying to get him charged. Thing is, the guy is so smart.
Who is he?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Salinger is his last name.
That's alright. They do this thing where like nobody can have their superhero name.
Whatever. Right. But anyway, he's just a serial killer. He's just a really smart guy, and they can't get enough evidence on him. So she has a witness to him doing some evil stuff. But then there's this other superpower guy that shows up, and he's got a really interesting power. He gets headaches when evil people are close to him.
What is evil? Did they talk about that?
Yes. They tried it because the actual serial killer.
Jessica Jones Netflix original tries to quantify evil.
No, I used a word that was just easier to explain it.
Okay.
So because they don't know how to explain it. So the serial killer tells him, well, these are the things you're picking up on me. This is why you're getting a headache, not because I'm evil, but because of certain qualities I have. And anyway, so we're at a point now where it's really interesting because I like this idea of Jessica trying to get this guy arrested, and where she's a superhero, she can just solve the problem really easily and just punch the dude in the face and kill him.
Yeah, that doesn't sound bad.
Yeah, but she's trying not to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that actually sounds pretty decent.
I like it.
Okay. If you learn nothing from this episode, stop watching anime. And
go watch Jessica Jones.
Watch Christina Ritter while you got the chance.
Yeah, she's gone.
She's gone, baby.
Gone.
She's gonna be on Disney.
She is.
They're gonna take. So you're gonna have House of Mouse, and if you users who also watched House of Mouse watch Jessica Jones. Remember the sex scene with Luke Cage? It's a special tool we're gonna use for later.
His dick.
Thank you. All right. Is it spider time?
Yeah, it's spider.
It's spider. I feel like how long have we been on? Yeah, we've been on for a hot minute. Feel like it. But just watch us on YouTube.
Does it tell how long?
I think it does. Doesn't it?
No.
Well, just go put your cursor down on the timeline.
What?
Yeah. Minus. Okay. Yeah. So go to the front. An hour. Yeah, it's spider time.
Right, spider time.
Yeah, especially since a lot of people, almost everyone, is going to not want spoilers, and you're one of the few people in America that has them. All right, so let's talk about spider time.
Spider time.
Spider time. Yeah. So if you're following us in the comments, etc., it is
on YouTube.
Yeah, on YouTube, it is spider time.
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest, if you don't want spoilers, maybe click off now and come back to us later.
No, we'll do some non-spoiler stuff first, right?
Are we gonna do the actual quite contrary thing?
I thought we were gonna do it in another video.
Yeah, we probably should. Yeah. Okay. All right. So no spoilers right now. Johnny Dim.
That's me.
First reactions to Spider-Man: Far From Homecoming.
This is the best Spider-Man movie that has been on TV screens. I messed that
up. Do you forget what movies are?
Yeah, I did. No, I think Spider-Man: Far From Home is the best Spider-Man movie to date.
It's impossible that this movie beat Spider-Man 2 from the Sam Raimi series. Impossible. Actually, I just saw Spider-Verse last night, and that was actually pretty good. I
watched Spider-Verse 2 days ago.
That movie, it gave me faith in 3D animation again.
It's amazing. That movie is very good.
Like, it has style, where so many 3D movies just don't have style.
Style is the word to describe that movie.
Yeah.
It is very good. And it's just good enough to be the second best Spider-Man movie to date. That's my assumption. That's my assessment.
At this moment, I'd have to go back and rewatch Spider-Man 2, because I know that Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 3 are awful. I know that.
You think the first one's bad?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, okay.
They go into these CG moments that they just weren't. Cinema was not ready for at the time. They just didn't have the technology. He looks bad.
Really?
It's distractingly. They may as well have done a Who Framed Roger Rabbit thing.
Who looks bad?
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man himself? Okay.
Yeah.
What did you think about Green Goblin? The way he looked on screen.
They actually have very few CG scenes with him. As a result, he looks fine.
He looks very shiny to me.
Oh, just the costume in general?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little odd. But I think it worked for the movie. A lot of things about that movie landed. A lot didn't.
Sure. Spider Kiss was pretty hot.
But
sorry, guys.
All right. So Spider-Man: Far From Homecoming, your favorite Spider-Man movie of all time.
Yes, Far From Home is amazing.
Can you tell me both how and why?
For me, that really got me was the visuals. I thought the fight scenes were absolutely amazing. I think that also the Peter Parker's arc through this particular movie is really good. They play with his uncertainty and fear of kind of filling the shoes of Iron Man.
Can I just say, it looks like he's got a mouth just full of big league chew right there.
He does. He does. But that's him just doing his American face.
Okay.
I forget he's British. He was actually doing an interview. I think he was doing the Graham Norton show, and he was just answering questions. No, I'm sorry, I can't remember who was opposite of him, but he was trying to have him. He said, "All right, I want you to act this way. I want you," and he was directing him. He was do this line. I'm going to tell you how to change it each time. Mm-hmm. As he was doing it, he automatically switched to American voice, and he didn't realize till afterwards that he was doing it.
That's what acting is to him now.
Yeah, he's just Peter Parker.
Okay.
But anyway, I thought that his arc through this movie was really good. They played with, like I said, his uncertainty and his fear about filling the shoes of Iron Man, and they chose the perfect villain for it because they chose a villain that's actually historically with Spider-Man in the comics and TV, whatever, he plays with expectations. He plays with people's perceptions of things, and he toys with Spider-Man. He convinces him to hand over something to basically take responsibility that Tony specifically gave Peter when he passed. Mysterio convinced him to then pass it to him because he's an experienced hero. At least he had that perception of being one. And it's a really good story. And the second, or I should say the third act is I thought where the drama started coming in and Tom Holland really had to deliver a dramatic performance. It was powerful, and the ensuing action sequences that follow, I think that you can see the emotion in the character, and it was really good. I was really impressed.
I can tell you why I'm not excited about this movie. In fact, I can show you why. It's actually pretty simple.
Sure.
You just need to
get out.
You just need to scoot over here. Him.
It's his fault.
Nick Fury. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Basically, everything that they've done with the Marvel movies right now has made Spider-Man a very unimportant character. Very
in the MCU?
Yes, very unimportant. They've taken away they've taken away his need to use his creative engineering mind. They've taken away any need for his powers because his suits help him so much in that department that it's kind of silly that they're even spider themed when they can put much better weapons on him. And like, why would Nick Fury ever tap Spider-Man when he literally has a smart Hulk? Why would he choose Spider-Man to do anything?
Excuse me. Well, they explore that a little bit where they start going through the list of Avengers because Peter Parker is basically saying,
"Yeah, it's in the trailer.
Don't bother me. I'm on vacation." And he's like, "Why don't you get Thor or these other guys?" And he's like, "Oh, he's off world. He's not around. He's not here. She's in space." Did
they mention Bruce Banner?
They did not go through the entire list of Avengers.
Because Bruce Banner fixes all the problems now.
Right.
He
is a smart Hulk solves a lot of problems.
Yeah, he's Bruce Banner, which I don't.
Although they do explain in Endgame that he has trouble with the violence now. Like, he's not as aggressive as the Hulk.
True, but he's still the smartest man on Earth.
No, I know, I understand that.
Like, if anything, this should have been a Hulk movie, and it's like, oh, I don't want to. It's like, Hulk, you've made the greatest weapons of all time. You can solve every problem, but I don't want to use them. We're just gonna glue them to Spider-Man and shove him into the action sequences, and we're done here.
Yeah, there you go.
Like, I don't like the ensemble as it is because they're not Avengers movies anymore. This is supposed to be a Spider-Man movie. If you want to make a new Avengers, make a new Avengers. But like they're trying to make a new Avengers and passing it off as Spider-Man and simultaneously undercutting the character to the point where I don't know why he has to go on these adventures.
What?
I don't know why Spider-Man has to go on these adventures. I was just saying that.
No. I know. I was following you to a point. Say that whole point over again.
They're undercutting him to the point where I don't know why he has to go on these adventures.
How are they undercutting him?
Because they keep giving him stuff that makes him not important to the story.
Sure, but they found good enough reasons in this movie.
Did I just blow your mind about this whole movie?
No.
Are you sure?
No, because he doesn't have because he's far from home. Because he's in Europe and he didn't want to bring his spider suit. And he definitely didn't want to bring the Iron Spider suit. Then he left them at home, and so he didn't have them. So he's more grounded.
Is the Iron Spider suit not part of him now?
No, they as we had talked about this before. He's looking at his regular suit that's hanging up in the closet, and he's like, I'm not bringing that. And then he looks over, and the Iron Spider suit is in a case this large. It's see-through, and you can see that it's the Iron Spider suit inside.
Wait, it's like folded up?
No, it's like floating in this canister. It's odd. It's a nanobot thing, so it can go in whatever size. Like, it can go into a very small size.
When we first introduced it in Infinity War, Iron Man slapped him on the chest, and then he was in the Iron Spider suit. Whatever it was at max this big.
Yep.
Robert Downey Jr.'s hands might be larger. It might be smaller, but they might be larger. Either way, it fits in the palm. It is maximum the size of a cantaloupe.
But apparently when it's charging? Question mark? Because that's what it looked like it was doing.
If you're going to charge nanobots, you use an induction field?
I don't know.
So
I don't know.
It'd be like charging your cell phone on a wireless charger.
Either way.
Okay.
Peter Parker didn't want to bring the Iron Spider suit. He didn't want to. Because he didn't want to be Spider-Man on vacation.
It expanded in the wash.
He didn't want to be... Yeah, I got pink. I got pink.
I actually like pink Spider-Man suits.
Yeah?
Like when that happens in the comics and stuff. Just like when the light...
Well, doesn't Spider-Gwen have a pink hue? It's like white, but then it has some pink accents. Yeah,
she's got pink accents.
Anyway, so the point is, he didn't want to bring the suit. So Aunt May... This is a spoiler. There's a very light spoiler. Trust me, it's not a big deal. Aunt May throws his spider suit in a suitcase with a note that says, "You forgot this." So he has the Spider-Man suit, but he doesn't want to be Spider-Man in Europe because he feels like people would put two and two together and realize that Peter Parker or someone in that class is Spider-Man, because it happened when his class was when they had a trip to DC. Spider-Man showed up. If Spider-Man shows up when his class is in Europe, then someone's going to put it together.
Why doesn't he use the nanobots to create a new persona for himself? A new European superhero?
Well, he becomes
La Muchacha.
He does become
La Muchacho Aranya.
Yeah, they kind of explore creating a new superhero. I do not want to spoil that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll revisit this. We're gonna do a little bit later. We're not gonna stream. We're going to do
an actual Quite Contrary video.
Well, we're changing the format a little.
We are. We're changing it, but it'd be the first Quite Contrary video in a while.
Yeah, basically, because a lot of our videos, I think they might be a little confusing for the YouTube format. Because one thing about YouTube is that getting people to watch all the way to the end is like a challenge.
It is.
So. Like, usually we would just really just rag on a movie the entire time. And that's, like, all people would see. And then they'd be like, oh, you hate my favorite movie, so you're trash.
Right.
When we'd only rag on a movie if we really liked it. So we're going to change it a little bit where Johnny is going to be taking a positive viewpoint of the movie. And I am going to contradict him with my negative viewpoint of the movie.
Yeah, so I'm going to do beat by beat, go through the entire movie. And Zach is just going to interject with his negativity.
Yeah, and our first foyer into this new format is going to be with a movie I haven't seen.
Right.
So Johnny's gonna have to explain the whole thing. We're gonna get into spoilers. We're gonna be explicit about that.
And don't worry about spoilers on that. We will not be releasing that until the day, at least the day of the release of the movie, and then maybe the day after. So you'll be able to watch it then. Go watch Far From Home, then come back and watch that movie on the Quite Contrary channel, which is not hard to find. Well, don't search for it. Just actually go to youtube.com/quitecontrary. You'll go straight there. But if you search for it, because we haven't been publishing a lot of stuff there, we keep falling further and further away from Parker Millsap.
No! We can't let Parker Millsap win!
We can't. So we're going to start doing a lot more Quite Contrary videos.
All right.
We'll be shitting all over your favorite stuff.
I will be.
Yeah, you're better at it.
I was thinking about the format.
Just keep it this way. Just keep it.
Yeah, I think that your positivity about a movie has a tendency to be a little bit more fun than my positivity.
I get excited.
You get excited, and I talk about movies work this way, and this is why it's good. Mm-hmm. And so mine can be very analytical, where my negativity can be very emotional.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It works. It works. But anyway, we're gonna let's get into it. We can get into a little spoiler territory right now.
Do you want to keep doing?
We don't have to. We can just do the Quite Contrary thing if you want.
Yeah, I think it's probably.
We've been going pretty long anyway.
Yeah, and streaming.
But I do recommend at least seeing the movie for yourself, because there is a lot of impressive stuff that happens in this movie, whether it makes sense or not. The movie's a lot of fun. So I do recommend you go check it out and then come back and watch the Quite Contrary video.
Are you telling me that there's a lot of nonsense in this movie?
Not everything makes perfect sense.
Are you talking about in movies or in real life?
No, in the movies.
Okay. I mean, even the nonsense in movies have explanations.
Sometimes.
I know why they do stupid things.
Sometimes it's plot reasons.
Sometimes it's laziness.
That's true.
Sometimes it's because they wrote the punchline to a scene, and then they have to work backwards, and then they forget to. Like with the Soul Stone thing.
Yeah. They
were like, oh, we want Gamora to die to get the Soul Stone. That's what we want.
That movie has a lot of other issues. Endgame has a lot of holes.
I'm talking about Infinity War.
Are you? Okay.
Endgame was actually better.
Endgame was better, but what bothered me was the nonsensical stuff at the end, and their lack of explaining certain things.
Like
Captain America's
Old Cap?
Yeah.
Old Cap was one of those things that was so satisfying to me that I didn't care. And
so as long as it delivers, then you're like, it doesn't have to make sense.
Yeah, because
I think Far From Home is going to be that for you. But I could be very wrong.
Impossible. Impossible.
It is so much fun. That movie is the best.
Comes out Tuesday, day before my birthday. So.
Yeah, there you go. Go see it for your birthday.
Hey, if it's coming out Tuesday, does that mean it actually comes out Monday?
I don't know how that works anymore.
Okay. Actually,
we can just look at that.
Yeah, if it's out on Monday, they're already selling tickets. Don't go to Fandango.
That's my favorite website.
That's where I follow my office forums.
So just go here.
Oh, is this part of the stream now?
Yeah, we're going to talk about when it actually comes out.
Okay, it actually comes out.
It says it opens 2nd.
Right.
But you can buy tickets for
July 1st. Yeah.
July 1st.
Yeah, it just comes out. Yeah, it comes out one day before because that's what movies do.
Yeah.
Okay. Either way, go watch Spider-Verse
in IMAX 3D.
Well, at home on Netflix.
Before
it leaves because Disney owns it now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say which one did you say? Spider-Verse?
Yeah, Into the Spider-Verse.
You should see both of these movies. You see Far From Home and Spider-Verse.
You probably skip Far From Home.
These are the two best Spider-Man movies that have ever been made.
Okay. We need to sit down and watch Spider-Man 2 because I think you're forgetting how good that movie is.
I'll watch it again. I've seen it a couple times. It's good.
Unless if a hero can save us, I'm not gonna stand here and wait.
That's why I didn't like it.
I'll hold on to the wings of an eagle and watch as they all fly away. And they're watching us.
I'm stopping the stream.
And they're watching us.
Oh God, I have to go over there.
Shut up.